What's up, wenches, privateers, and non-binary buccaneers? Welcome to the most chaotic theory corner on the Grand Internet. How do I intro these? I don't even remember. Before we get too far into this is spoiler territory. We're in the spoilery seas right now. All right, this is all spoiler territory. So if you don't want to hear us theorize about the future of One Piece, then now is a good time to watch or listen to any of our other episodes, or go to our Twitch and just wait for us to start streaming. What'll happen eventually. We do it all the time. You might get lucky. We might be streaming right now. You don't know
anything
and neither
about
do
One
we.
Piece. Go to episode 0.
You should start there. It's a good place to start. That said, let's introduce you to the crew. Let's start with the person who almost ruined my intro, the Laugh-Org Al McClellan Jr.
Hi, everybody. There's no almost about me ruining that first intro.
He's in jail.
Yes.
And let's go to our favorite bonesman, Mark B. Donica. I like when Mark gets to do an intro because it feels like he gets to play around a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
it's really fun
all
for
the
me.
time.
Yeah, see.
I can hear it. I can hear it in your yo-ho-hos.
And of course, the captain of the CrUno Pirates, who has been waiting an entire week and not several minutes for us to give our answer about if her statue is horny or not, Molly D. Simpy.
Hi, yeah, and what's the resounding answer on that one?
Oh, it's super horny. That's a horny statue.
That's a
you
horny
have a very horny statue.
Yeah.
I don't want to put ideas in people's heads, but it's there, baby. Listen, I'm picking up what Oda put down. I'm just saying.
Okay.
He knows what he's doing.
So let's start at the beginning. Let's start at the end of the last episode and work our way to the beginning of what I wanted to talk about, because I think that's funnier that way.
Okay.
How did you guys not figure out that Jewelry Bonnie and Kuma were a thing
Literally?
when they told you
Literally.
in words?
Okay, are you talking about the chapters we just talked about? Or are you
The ones we just talked about, where it literally gave you the answers.
So reading's hard, okay?
I also want to say for the record, I did know about it from this chapter. What I didn't know from this chapter was that they said freaking Kuma was a previous king. That's big news. And I don't know if I knew when they told us about that. It's like, dang.
So that was one of the things that I'm just like, hey, I have a theory about this. And I was going to be like, did you guys not read the chapters or something?
Well, that's why I literally said dad, and then I heard Mark and Al backpedaling in their voices, and I was like, oh, did I spoil that? And then I was scrolling, I'm like, no, she says it. And so it's I was like, am I in trouble? No, it's everybody else who's wrong.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just there in these past couple chapters, there's so many blocks of text describing. It's you don't need to look at Kuma. We know who Kuma is. So it was just a thing of oh, I don't need to read that, whatever, and brain off, keep reading. It was just 100% something that I just didn't see.
Yep.
And I think Mark and I both subscribe to the better safe than sorry form of spoilers. So it's just I don't know if that's spoiled here or not, so I'm just not going to mention it and hope for the best.
I big-brained it this time. I actually just was opening the chapters up as we were talking about it, so
Smart.
I couldn't mess up. And so that's why I was like, wait, no, I'm right. Looks down, double checks, looks back up, looks back again because I forgot what the answer was again, and I am right. No, I am right.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
That wasn't her. I mean, that was big news, but it wasn't a surprise. The surprise to me was that they had given a little bit more context to Kuma in his titles. We know who he is. We've known him since Sabaody, but their relationship, because again, I brought it up way long ago, where we're finally getting answers to who Bonnie was talking about way back when, after Marineford, because she's still very much an enigma to us. Out of all the worst generations, there's still a handful of people we haven't really dug in on, and Bonnie just I think aside from Rouge, Rogue, the
Uruge?
sky, yeah, Uge, the guy from
The Mad Monk.
You know, yeah, the mad monk guy. Aside
I love
from him,
that's my favorite thing. One of my favorite things about Molly is this is how you pronounce it. Anyway, I'm gonna do it wrong again.
Master Oogway got it.
it's very, and I'll never forget it, and I will think that's real from now
journey
on.
ends here.
Yeah, I think that might be the closest I get to Luffy on that aspect. But I mean, because like everybody else, really, we've either met, like, and done stuff with, like Bayesian law, or we've gotten at least little context bits of like what are these guys? What's their deal? What are they up to? And like we have like an idea of where they're probably at right now. But Bonnie and the Mad Monk Uge,
Master
we
Uge,
don't
got it.
know anything really about them or what they're up to. So it's kind of like, oh, wow, and you're there. That's kind of a big deal. And they're like, yeah, anyway, let's go back to this thing. And it's like, Oda, wait, hey, hey. But yeah, it's crazy because, like, for the longest time, prior, I think, to the podcast, I was holding a torch that it was going to be revealed that Bonnie was related to Whitebeard because there's so much, like, in the air about Weevil and, like, Whitebeard's relationship, at least, like, in terms of, like, bloodlines and he said, she said kind of stuff. But I was like, is that going to be a misdirect where, like, they actually, like, he's not related in any way. He's just trying to, like, because he's gone and no one can discredit it, he's trying to get clout. And then we find out that Bonnie is actually somehow related to Whitebeard. But it's crazy that it's like, no, I was wrong. And we're going to hard turn to somewhere I didn't consider before until this chapter.
Yeah, port to starboard. We gotta hard turn this.
Yeah.
It's a fun little thing that they like I've liked Bonnie the entire time. I thought that that's like everybody else has had their like a little bit of moments to it. Bonnie had not, and this is the like, okay, so this is where Bonnie fits into this. This is where Bonnie is like coming into the worst generation, and it's really cool to like see more of her in this aspect because she's like the only worst generation that like she's the only girl of the worst generation, like. Right? That's it. That's just her.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool. What is she
girl.
doing? And as time has gone on, I've liked her more and more. I do blame the movie for helping with that a little bit too. And she's just a fun character, so it's nice to have some backstory for her coming to fruition. And I'm excited to see where that goes because though there's a whole secondary plot which is happening now because the pirates that we talked, or the Revolutionary Army members that we talked about before, they're trying to get Kuma back, and getting Kuma back is part one. Then they need to unbrainwash Kuma. They need to undo what they did to Kuma to bring Kuma back fully.
They got to get him to touch grass again.
Yeah, they need him to get touch grass.
Remember who you are.
You gotta put him in the green room.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is tying into this whole thing that we're going to see Bonnie like really lean into the Revolutionary Army and be just like, all right, fine. I'm not joining you, but I want to.
Give me your pizza.
Yeah, I want to. Give me your. I will take your pizza and my dad. Thanks.
Is she okay? Question for Kdin, because it's the theorist corner. Is Bonnie gonna change her aesthetic to fit in? Yes or no?
No. 100% no. 100% no.
You guys.
I don't think so.
She's gonna flip her lid when she
Nah.
finds out.
When she wears
shopped
her
at
hat
Pat
upside
Taffy.
down.
Yeah.
If anything, I think she'll just like change her outfit to like infiltrate again, but like I don't think that she's gonna like change her whole vibe, her whole
aesthetic.
steez.
New
Yeah, her whole
friend, new
aesthetic.
aesthetic.
New year, same garbage, trash me. That's my thought process on that.
Well,
I wanted to go back, and I wanted to talk about the fact that we have a fifth emperor. and the implications of that. What do you mean, who is it?
What do you mean?
What do you mean, who is it?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you mean?
So Luffy is the 5th emperor, and yes.
I mean, that's the
just
power.
it.
That's the power of the left-wing news media. I'm kidding. That's it. This is a joke. But
I love
this
that
was
you
something
backed
that-
out of that so fast.
Absolutely. Anytime that says X-wing, not X-wing news media, because that would be really awesome to talk about spaceships.
So
but like,
rad.
just this is the thing that continues to make Morgan's so interesting to me. Is he
Yes.
has such a throwaway attitude of like, this is going to sell papers. It doesn't matter what the government says. And at the same time, you don't know what side of the argument he represents, and he can really he's just like brain off, pure chaos, full steam ahead. I need to sell some papers, and I love him.
Who does Mean
very,
Big
like-
Bird work for?
He's
Himself.
he's very like, whoa, this is gonna like that's crazy. Sounds like a you problem.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna get mine. I'm gonna do what I want to do, and that's like, tell what's going on. I want the juicy details, and like no stone left unturned.
I think that this is where things start getting really, really iffy for Luffy. I think this is where things start getting a little out of Luffy's own control. 1.5 billion berries is a lot of money.
Money. Think of all the
And-
workers you can get with that.
And I feel like that's where this whole next arc is setting things up. Going into Wano, we have a villain that was not defeated. We did not beat Big Mom technically in the way that everybody else has been beaten. It's
We
just
have
more like
beef.
I'm coming back for you.
I'm coming
We're not
back for
done.
you, baby.
We'll be
I'm
back.
coming back for you.
And then she's just like, hold on, let me call up Kaido. And then calls up Kaido.
Yeah. I like how it calls up Kaido and talks crap, and Kaido's like, whatever, old lady.
I think Oda's smarter than he takes credit for in that writing style though, because in like several pages we learn about a lot of stuff really fast, and he's smart to inundate with information because then it doesn't seem like it's all connected, but it is. It's all connected. It has to be. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. Within a few pages, we learn that Big Mom and Kaido know each other. Of course they know each other, but like they know each other, which is cool. The secondary thought is that at the same time, we learn about something that one of Molly's favorites says, and that's when things get dangerous. Because if Garp knows something about something, then we can start predetermining how long ago this was a thing. And we start rolling things back. And one of the things that Garp mentions is rocks. There's a lot of rocks. There's so many rocks in the ocean. There's a lot of rocks. You can attach it to your sword or
love
your
those
shield
rocks.
or your,
All right,
yeah,
okay. Can you guess that we're all playing Tears of the Kingdom right now? Because I
Except
can't.
for Al. Al's
Well, no,
all over there.
by now he is.
By now he is. By this point he is. But with that, I'm going to attach those two threads together. Bringing it back, Mark.
Yahaha.
I was going somewhere with that. And I'm going to say that those two things are related. And I'm going to say that they have to be related based on the timetable that we were given there with how long Garp has been in this thing. We're talking about age and timelines for Big Mom and Kaido. Both of them are very old as well. So taking in age here, age here, age here, tying all of that together, we can just twist off that like the little end of the bread, the little twisty tie at the end of the bread. Make sure you use those. Don't spin it and flip it underneath. It doesn't seal it well. But I think that that's related, and I think that that's because the logical answer is that Kaido and Big Mom were on a pirate crew together. And it's very probably logically this group, because I think that this just like it. This is a pre-Roger group, and so Roger comes in and is just like, this is my stuff now. And so there's some vendetta against Roger for like usurping some stuff. So that's where my brain is going in that way, that like Kaido and Big Mom have this thing of just like, well, we want this stuff because, well, one, we hate Roger. A lot of us hate Roger because sucks to suck. You know, it's like he became king of the pirates and died, whatever, nerd. And so they're a little upsetty spaghetti about it. But it also took away power that they could have inherited. And so they had to do things a different way. And this jerk decided to take all the power and then die and then not tell anybody where it was. Total jerk. Absolute jerk. So they're a little upsetty spaghetti about it. So I think the plan is for the fact that they know that Luffy is going to Wano next. So Big Mom's just like, hey, jerk. Like, just like calling up a little brother. It's like, you nerd, I hate you, and your vibes are rank, but also this little dweeb is coming, so you owe me. Make sure that that we're on the same page here, and you gotta help me take this nerd down. I don't no messing around. And with the fact that Luffy's bounty is up there now at that 1.5 billion, maybe this is just me. I don't think Luffy earned the 1.5 billion. I don't think Luffy earned the 1.5 billion with Whole Cake Island. I don't think that was enough of a thing. Fighting a warlord and winning? Yeah. And like,
or at least getting out alive.
Getting out alive, I guess.
Name somebody else who's gone up against one of the emperors and has like gotten a way to tell the tale about it. Like, I hear what you're saying, but I feel like it maybe not as much money is deserved, but I also think it's pretty up there for like, this guy picked a fight and was like, all right, I gotta get out of here. I'll see you guys later. And like got away and got away to tell the tale about it.
To be fair, in Luffy's situation, Luffy also like staged what essentially was a coup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and so it wasn't just Luffy, but we see that Luffy and Sanji's bounties go up.
Well,
and of course, this is where that like where Mark was talking about it's all about the public eye, what was seen and not what was behind closed doors. So we're gonna blame. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, like, to give Beige some credit, he was coming up with that, and then Luffy walked in, and they're like, "Oh, hey, man," and he's like, "Hey, what are we doing? We wearing suits and hats, and we're gonna crash a party."
Wait, speaking of public perception, do you think all of the fake Luffys, including Brooks' broke-ass fake Luffy costume, made everybody just be like, wow, he could duplicate himself. This dude's crazy.
Maybe that's why his bounty's so high.
I guarantee you that Morgan's probably leaned into a lot of this. Like, we don't have like exact text from all the stuff that Morgan says, but I can definitely believe this is like, this troublemaker Luffy did all this really cool stuff, and apparently there's all these really new powers that he has, and it was all over the place, and you don't even know. So like 1.5 billion, and it's just like, and send.
The funnier thing is that guy was there. Like, he witnessed all of this.
Yeah, but the thing is like, he's not about the truth. He's about the story.
I know, that's what I'm saying, though. It's like, it's not even like him being like somebody on assignment and being like, yo, this is what I think happened, and him being like, all right, write it up. He was there, and he saw exactly how it went down and who was involved, and he's giving all of the credit to Luffy. It's one of those things where it's like, when Law was associated with Luffy, and like, obviously Luffy, we know that Luffy did not come up with all of this, but thank you, Marco. But it's like, it's like, okay, listen, it's like, you came up with the plan, and then Luffy did what he wanted to do, and they gave Luffy the credit. Do you actually want to claim the credit? What actually, are you proud of what happened? Are you proud of it that you so desperately need the credit for? And I feel like Beige and Law both said, you know what, I'm good, actually. I don't want my name attached to this.
My plan did not go as planned.
I honestly want my name attached to this.
I'll be 100% with you. I don't think that Morgan's respects anybody enough to take their thought on that from them. and be just like, hey, it's like, hey, it's like, hey,
Mark's
can I get a statement from you about what would you like to be credited for? Morgan's is just like, what's the freaking funniest thing that I could do right now?
Morgan's is the One Piece equivalent of I did this.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Morgan was probably looking at it as like, well, I could ask them if they want to be included in it, or I could just pretend that they weren't here. That's funnier. And he just writes it down. And it's like, and then apparently Luffy can duplicate because everybody saw a bunch of Luffys. That's real, and nobody can fact check it, and we're gonna move on.
Well, also,
and,
it's a
fifth emperor. Boom, done.
But also, it's a party with a bunch of really influential, like, decision makers in the area, and they're all famous and well known, and they get their own title cards when they walk in. So it's like all of these people were at a party where Luffy ran up to their table and did monkey things because it was a monkey in disguise and ran off. And that happened to all of them because there were hundreds of him. So
I like to believe with that thought process, Al. I like to believe, like I said in the last couple of episodes, of everybody being like, I have beef with Roger, and Roger's just sitting there. I like to believe that this is now the origin beginnings of like villains who were like Monkey D. Luffy. I was looking forward to this giraffe smoothie for weeks. 4 weeks, I did my dues to get the invite to this party, and you knocked my table over, Monkey D. Luffy, and I'll never forget it. You ruined my smoothie.
That's what I'm saying. That's probably what happened.
I mean, it's much more logical that that's the case, because as far as Luffy is concerned, Luffy doesn't care.
No, he doesn't.
And I'll be honest, some of these people are not smart enough to know that that is Monkey D. Luffy in a monkey suit.
And we're back to public perception because everybody thinks because of his bounty that he's this criminal mastermind because everybody has this terrible like thought of pirates because they've never met the guy. And
he can't be caught. No one has caught him. He ran into the prison and ran out of the prison.
And it just behooves Morgan to keep up the shenanigans here. It makes more sense to just be like, okay, yeah. It was a bunch of people from the worst generation and some other folks were there and everybody helped out and blah, blah, blah. That doesn't benefit the story. That doesn't benefit the public eye. That doesn't benefit the fact that he's trying to do whatever he's doing, stir up like controversy or conflict between the pirates and the Revolutionary Army and the Marines. So by doing it and pinning it on one dude, it's like this one dude was able to do all this. And this is where I take one big step back, but one giant leap forward. I feel like that's exactly what happened with Roger, where everybody's just like, oh, well, Roger did all this stuff. It's like, did he though? Was it him?
I don't know.
Was it Roger, or was it the fact that like, you know, was it the fact that like, you know, maybe somebody was manipulating the rest of the thoughts of everything? Could it possibly have been like, hey, maybe the whole crew did this stuff, but we're just going to get pinned on Roger because, you know, and because we've met people who were sailing with Roger, and now Shanks is there in Buggy. Shanks is up there in Buggy, and they're like on the upper echelons. And they're the upper echelons, so it's just like as much as people want to discredit Buggy, and I'm one of those people, dude made it. He made it in his own way. He made it.
Literally faked it till he made it.
There's something
he failed upwards.
Hang on, I want to pull up this thread Kdin's talking about right now. I'm gonna come up to the board. I'm poking it. I'm gonna connect it
Poking
to
the
a thought
board.
I just had. The thought, the Buggy to Roger thought here. Okay.
The Buggy to clown connection.
Yeah, there's nothing funnier than the implications of what you just said. That Buggy learned how to fail upwards from Roger, the most notorious pirate of all time.
Yep.
That is so funny to me because it's like, where did you learn this from? I learned it from you, Dad. Like,
Yep.
I never considered that before. That is so funny to me. Ridiculous.
Shanks reacted and Buggy reflected.
It's almost like following that same thought. It's like, what if Shanks is emulating Rayleigh, like his other dad? He's acting so cool and he has the clout, but really he was just staring at Rayleigh the whole time. Whereas Buggy has been, whether he likes it or not, is his other father, Roger. He has become his dad.
And maybe the real thing that he learned was just to know not when to correct people.
Yeah.
So, like, if someone says something amazing about you, just stay silent and sweat a tiny bit.
I've never thought about that before, and now I can't stop thinking about that. That's really funny.
The real thing is that how much do we know about Roger?
Not a lot.
That's a fair point.
That's what I'm saying.
We don't know much about Roger. Like, the only things we really know is he was a really cool dude, and everybody really liked him who was around him. However,
and he started
the people who were surrounded him and were around him and have made him a part of their life, they loved him. They loved him very much. They loved him so much that they wanted to stick with him to the bitter end, the inevitable death that Roger was marching toward. They were just like, no, we want to stay with you. And he's just like, no, it's not the point. That's not the point of this. You guys got to go. You got to be free. You got to get out of here. Go do whatever you want to do. Don't hang around me while I'm dying. That's not the point of this. The point of this is the freedom. So get out of here. Go do stuff. Have some things and get out of here. Take a boat, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Hey, Roger, what about Bullet? Oh, he already left.
He's gone. He's been gone for a while. The point is that, like,
him.
Yeah, he's not a part of this. He's not invited to the table. But, like, Roger had this charisma that brought people in. We don't know if he was that good of a pirate. We just know that he was a cool dude. This is a cool dude who brought cool people to the table. This dude kind of gotten his ass kicked by everybody on that boat. And it's just like, this could have been the Robin Hood of One Piece, where he just got his ass beat. And he's just like, that was cool. My boat? You? My boat? And he just, like, increases his thing by just being like, well, that was really cool. And, like, building people up and allowing them to succeed and allowing them and, like, nurturing and fostering that stuff. And that's why they liked him. We don't know if he was any good at anything. Nobody ever actually said he was good at anything. They just said he was a really cool dude and he became a king of the pirates. How? What did he do?
What we know about Roger is that he was really good about killing other people's crews when they mess with his crew. That's what we know about Roger. And
but was that him directly? Was that him directly? Or was that, like, did he actually kill? Or was that just the crew killing? Because
that was, like,
we've seen
that was the one thing we learned, I think, from Rayleigh, was that, like, say what you will about this guy, but he was fierce in the way that he showed. Like, he was quick to anger, and he was also quick to laugh.
And so that's where
what we know. Hashtag legend.
And see, this is where we're going to pull everything back to something that I said a long time ago. And Molly, I'm so happy you said that, because we're back. We're back in the frickin' building, Molly. So, I want to talk about the Will of D for a minute. I want to talk about the Will of D for just a minute. What does the D stand for? We still don't know.
I can say Dick.
It stands for Dick, I can say.
Is the title of this episode The Will of Dick?
No, please.
The will of Molly saying
The will
Dick.
of Richard.
The will of Molly saying Dick.
The ordeal of Mark suffering Molly saying Dick.
Mark's ordeal of Molly being able to say Dick.
I can say it.
So what if D just means devil fruit?
I mean,
What if that means that if you have the D, pause for laughter. If you have the D, you are able to impart will.
If you have the D, you get the D?
If you have the D, you get the D. If you have the D, you are able to impart more of yourself and more of your own will and more of your own self into the devil fruit you have. And so as it is passed down, more of yourself is viable to be pulled from it. Case in point, we'll use Ace as an example.
Yeah.
Ace's fruit getting eaten by Sabo. Sabo's just like, suddenly I act more like Ace. It's like, I wonder if that's because of the fruit or because of something else. And I say this because they wanted to keep the Gomu Gomu no Mi away from everybody. The Marines really didn't want that particular fruit to get away. What if that was Roger's fruit? And we know he's Gold D Roger. And the fact that Gold D Roger's fruit ended up in Luffy's hands, who is also D, means that there is a certain amount of additive there.
Did we talk about this with Kdin yet?
I don't think we have. We can finally talk about a spoiler chat theory that we've had for a little bit.
And I'll hand to you in just a second. But also the last theorist corner we had, didn't I talk about how I'm like, this is my like little crazy corner about like, I swear, if you have a strong enough will and you have a devil fruit, that
we did talk about
on you. And I was like, I used Ace as a reference because I'm staring at you like, yes, Kdin is accepting my headcanon. She's accepting it.
I not only did I accept it, but I think I found more to it.
That's
Mark?
great.
So I'm going to take what Molly said and I'm going to run with it a little bit more.
So, I think I wonder if it was something. I think it wasn't something in One Piece Film Red, but it was something. I think it was around the time when Film Red and we started hearing about like the plot and blah 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 blah. And this isn't a spoiler or anything for that, but it roused a theory of what if Shanks was bringing the Gomu Gomu no Mi to Ace because
Yes, we've definitely talked about that.
Okay, we have talked about that. Okay, great. Because it was his dad's fruit, blah 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 blah, and the will.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think a devil fruit has its own will. This is where I'm going to take this a little step further. I think a devil fruit, especially one that has been eaten by somebody with a D moniker, has more of an actual sentient will. And the more that has been pushed into it, the more that exists in the devil fruit, the more it showcases itself in mannerisms. Luffy is not... This is where I say Luffy is not the same person that we introed the series with. And that's not just because of the things that Luffy has gone through. Luffy never used to be really, like, snapping between anger and happiness the way that he does now. And I feel like that in itself is something to hit on.
Well,
snapping between things so quickly, that
like
ability
rubber.
to like.
Can I give Kdin? Can I help you along here? Can I add to your theory on this one? The very first
Molly,
chapter,
that's the entire part of port prediction. So yes,
the very first chapter of One Piece, not the first episode of One Piece where they skip ahead and then go back. The very first chapter of One Piece where it's little Luffy and Shanks, like after Luffy eats the Gomu Gomu no fruit, the next day he's like getting, I don't know, he's like at the market or whatever, and they're like, hey Luffy, how's it going? And he's like, well, I kind of just cut my loss on that one, and no matter
Joey Wheeler.
no matter how I'm feeling, I can't stop laughing. So you know what? I think we're okay. And it's like, that implies, right? Like that does imply with your theory there, where it's like previously on One Piece, previously as we knew Luffy before the Gomu Gomu no fruit, and then after of him being like, whatever, like life's a joke anyway. And it's like, okay, but that's not what you said yesterday. You stabbed yourself in the face yesterday, and you were very specific about why you were stabbing.
Upset about it.
Yes.
Yeah. And yeah. So listen, I'm here for this, Kdin. I'm here for this. I do want to remind people at home, we don't know.
Yeah.
Like, we don't...
We still have no idea.
The manga is ongoing, and we're right here at the board with you, Kdin. Like, I think this is a common theory that we are all on board about.
Like,
So you first, Al, then me.
Kdin is starting the arc that we are on.
Yeah. The only thing that I would add, and I do agree, the only thing that I would add as a question or something to think about would be, what about the people who have the initial in the world that may or may not have devil fruits?
Well, that sounds like it sucks to suck skill issue. Okay.
I'm having a very specific thought about something that I can't talk about.
Well, there's also the fact that there's, and we didn't talk about that at all. Why did we not talk about that? We should have talked
about
about that. And, well, I guess it's not that important, but we also have hockey.
Yeah.
That's happening. We also, like, somebody else just recently, like, they just recently said, or at least far as I'm concerned in Revelry, another person has hockey, and it was what's his face? I hated
them.
Luffy's old friend, the guy who Helmeppo.
Kobe.
There it is.
Oh.
Helmeppo
is not a friend.
It's just like Luffy's other friend, and then there's the other guy. Helmeppo is the one that I was thinking.
Kobe's
of. Like, there's
friend.
Kobe, and then
Luffy's friend,
Kobe's
Kobe,
Luffy's friend Kobe's, who's got a friend that Helmeppo has hockey. And I think that is part of the other part of the Will of D, is that, like, it's not just a devil fruit thing, but it is devil fruit centric, but hockey is also a part of this. And it makes it so you're more flexible when it comes to hockey.
I like the idea that Garp is inflicting so much damage. He's inflicting so much trauma on them that it's like, whether they like it or not, they have hockey now.
I'm gonna beat superpowers into you is what Garp said.
I haven't watched the show, but the one meme where it's like, think, Mark, think, where he's like pointing towards his head. That's what I assume is like.
Is it like your childhood trauma leads to what hockey you're really good at?
Yeah.
What were you hyper-fixated as a child? Okay.
Like, Katakuri had a very demanding mom that had very specific cravings that you would have to try and anticipate.
Yeah. Like your mom's mood swings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like where this theory is going because it sounds real.
It's because oh, what do you know?
It's too real.
Who could have guessed? So I think that and the other part of that. Okay, so here's the real thing. Here's the real thing. Okay.
Get real.
Well, now it's the real thing.
Here's the real thing. If this was Roger's devil fruit,
Yeah.
don't you think that somebody would have mentioned at some point in time that he was a rubber man?
Yeah, like really? You think?
Like, and literally anybody? And this is where I really double and triple down on something that I said a while ago, but now I'm certain of it. The Gomu Gomu no Mi is not the Gomu Gomu no Mi. It has nothing to do with rubber. It has nothing to do with that.
I also have a theory about that when you're done.
They've lied about it the entire time. They lied about it the entire time to hide what the devil fruit's actual power is.
Can I ask?
Because they call it the Gomu Gomu no Mi. Because that's what was thought about it. Because those thoughts were imparted onto everybody who had it in their hands. When it got to Luffy, that's what he thought he had. That's what the fruit gave him.
Does this go back to public perception?
First,
we're back to perception.
First, can I ask who is the royal we you're saying here? Are you talking about who are you talking about?
I think so the Marines didn't want anybody to know that this was whatever the fruit it was. So they called it the Gomu Gomu no Mi because who wants a rubber fruit? That's stupid. The thing is like I feel like some people knew what it was. I feel like one of those people is probably Shanks. And that's why Shanks is just like, I gotta keep an eye on this kid. Because if I don't, whoo boy, something bad's gonna happen. So that's why like Shanks is probably just like, I'm gonna plot around and just kind of like, I'm not gonna like shadow him the whole time, but I am gonna keep my eye on him. Because if something goes wrong, then I'm gonna need to be there. And I'm going to be there either for him or to stop him. And it's one way or the other.
Just as a quick aside, I like the idea that like Shanks has not been keeping an eye or like an ear out for Luffy because of their friendship and their manly rival goal of meeting each other on the Grand Line when he's older and a pirate and like we'll meet again like. I like the idea that he is keeping an eye on Luffy because he's like, this is gonna blow up and it's gonna be hilarious, and I gotta have a front row seat to this. I gotta be there. I gotta see this develop.
Because I'll be honest, I think you guys are right. I think he was trying to bring it back to just be like, hey, Ace, this is your dad's devil fruit. This is what it really is.
So,
and when Luffy ate it, he was just like, well, I can't tell this kid. I can't tell this kid what it is. Because if I tell this kid what it is, something bad is going to happen. So let's just lean into what they think it is. Let's just let Gamu Gamu no Mi here be a rubber man.
So
safer.
My thought is, one, why wouldn't the government have locked up Luffy? Try to, well, I get like
they tried. They keep sucking.
But if it is this important and this hush hush, like, you need to scorched earth everywhere where this kid is and bring him in by any means necessary. I'm talking admirals out the jump. But my other thought was, what if this fruit wasn't, because we haven't heard anything about it yet, what if this wasn't necessarily Roger's fruit, but the white whale? You know, this was the fruit that Roger had been looking for, and Shanks finally finished the mission for his old captain, and was like, let me give you this gift of this thing that your father never had. So maybe not even necessarily this is Roger's fruit, but this is the thing that he could never get. Because then that allows the ceiling to shoot open for Luffy now you can be the Pirate King and have this thing that the king always wanted but never got. And it's this double thing.
The only reason why I'm not fully sold on this being Roger's devil fruit is that we've met so many people who've met and it's like kind of what Kdin was saying, like, we've met so many people who have met Roger or knew Roger personally. At some point, I feel like even if it was like them being like, I'll do Roger a solid and not bring this up or whatever to this kid, I feel like there are so many of Roger's enemies that would just be like, this kid's just like him. Like, he's doing, it's like, maybe it's not Gomu Gomu, but like, he would be doing similar, moving his body in similar ways that like Roger may have.
It's usually like an attitude or a smile that makes people go, that reminds me of Roger, but not like.
I feel like there are plenty of people who hate Roger so much they immediately would have called that out immediately. And I'm also just kind of like,
there's problems with that, though. There's problems with that. There's problems with that because of the same thing that we talked about before. And it brings us all the way back to Morgan's. It's all about perception, baby. It's all about perception.
I also if
they start reacting that way, then the government starts getting a thought otherwise. Because at this point, it's just some kid who's really annoying and who happened to has a rubber fruit. And
I'd like to invoke Garp.
You would like to invoke, all right?
I would like to invoke Garp. Garp is a member of the Marines who we've heard say, you want to be a pirate like Roger, not you're a damned rubber man like Roger. From somebody who knew Roger. If there's anybody who doesn't give a good goddamn about what they say, it's Monkey D. Garp.
Well, the thing is that's true, but he also loves his grandson. And if he, again, I think it's the knowledge. I think it's the knowledge of. The knowledge of is the important thing. So long as Luffy thinks that Luffy has a specific devil fruit, the devil fruit will give him that power. Specifically because of a reason of what the devil fruit actually is. And I think it's because it's one of those super mythical whatever kind of Zoan fruits that we've seen before, that it's just like, we're going to transport you into another thing. But I think this just has so much will, and got that big D in it, that like this particular type of, and I've talked about it being a Zoan fruit before. That was in the last Port Predictions. I talked about it, thinking about it being a Zoan fruit. But with the more of the fact that we've seen more of these legendary and mythical Zoan fruits, I think that's what it is. But it's got to be something specific, something really freaking weird and abstract that I could never possibly think of, because it's not like he's turning into a bird like Morgan, or a dinosaur or something. It's got to be something so hyper specific that there's no way I could possibly guess it in a million years. But the fact that And this is where things get weird. Roger knew what it was. Roger knew what it was. Or whoever had it before knew what it was, which is why nobody would have suspected that Luffy, having a Gomu Gomu no Mi, would have this fruit. It's supposed to be something, it's mostly harmless. He's a rubber man, whatever. Doesn't matter. It's super, super whatever.
And with what we know about devil fruits right now, like I wonder how the military got it.
And for me, at least, I think it just takes credit away from like who Roger is as a person to say that like he's only as big as life as he is because he probably had a devil fruit, and I don't like that implication.
I'm literally taking it the reverse way. I'm imparting it the exact opposite way. The only reason Luffy has this energy is because Roger imparted part of himself on there, and that people keep doing that, and they've put themselves and their hopes and dreams and abilities into these things, kind of like One for All.
But the other end of that, though, is that I also don't like that, because you're implying that who Luffy is and what Luffy does doesn't matter because he's just somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, and again, it's like we don't know, and I'm really hoping that like we only get like a little bit of that if that's what Oda's gonna go with it. But it's like in my head, I'm like, you're just completely taking away Luffy's agency then. Like, I really don't like the idea. I mean, we see people like Rayleigh, who's like as bigger than life as they are because of hockey. Like, I don't like the idea that like these people are only as cool and as big as they are because of this other thing. Like, I think I would like the idea that that thing is already like accentuating what was already there, instead of saying that these people are only the way they are because of a devil fruit.
I think that's why the devil fruit, like specifically, I feel like the devil fruit chose Luffy. That's why I think the devil fruit chose Luffy. It's like, I don't want Ace. I want Luffy. Because Luffy reminds me of the last guy I liked.
I do want to remind everyone that the only reason Luffy was in contact with this thing is that Shanks just left it on the bar counter. Like, I think we're putting, I like the idea of it, but I think we're getting like the same thought of like, not just I think the royal we of like us on the internet, but like, I think we're kind of giving a lot of credit to like some things that maybe happened, but I also really like the idea that like, I mean, there are no coincidences, right? But also there are coincidences, and it's funnier that it's like a premeditated thing of like, yeah, I'm gonna give this devil fruit to the Pirate King's son, as he always foretold and told what was going to happen, and thus the chosen one will be and oh, Luffy's already eaten it. Luffy has already. It sets the tone of this entire story as we know it, that Luffy accidentally like ate the devil fruit. Like, there was no intent behind it. It was there and he ate it. Like, there was just like I think that is like, that's the story I want Oda to tell, right? Like, that's the story I know and love, and I think putting so much gravity in that becomes a little bit too much like every other shonen out there.
I think what it is that
that's also oh, sorry.
No.
Sorry.
I think that I want to give Shanks so much credit. I want to give Shanks so much credit because by this point he's been able to accomplish a lot in the shadows of things, and not by flexing strength or anything like that, but outplaying and outwitting everybody else by being just
being a survivor.
By being shut up, he's basically been a step ahead the entire time. So I think, and this is probably wrong, but I think it's really fun to assume it this way. I think he knew by playing around with the fact that I'll be blasé with this devil fruit, and I'll boast that I have one here, ha ha ha. No one will think that I actually have the one that everybody doesn't want me to have. If I lean into the fact that, hey, here's this thing, this is what it is, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever, I'll put it on the counter, I'll be blasé about it. By being like that with it, it's very the purloined letter, you know. So you're not going to look at the obvious thing because it's so obvious it can't possibly be, and so it keeps people distracted. And by keeping people distracted, it's like, well, that's obvious. No, he wouldn't possibly. He'd be really protecting it. And by being blasé about it, he's actually protecting it more than he possibly could have if he was actually like, oh, I got to keep this a secret from everybody. And in doing so, the devil fruit got what it wanted, and it got another person, like the person who, like, either created the devil fruit, be it like whoever made it in the first place, or what is more in line with the will of the devil fruit, or is more like the previous owner of the devil fruit. Whichever one of those that you'd like to assign your cart to, whichever one you'd think be more probable, be it. I remember Roger, and I remember liking Roger, and I found somebody who's like Roger, so I'm going to hitch my horse to this one. Or the devil fruit being just like, hey, this is my own will, and I like this kid, and I think this kid's going to go places, so I'm going to attach myself to this kid this way. Or the person who created the devil fruit.
In the face. That's hilarious.
Kid's got moxie.
I want to hang out with this guy more often.
Whatever one of those you'd like to subscribe to, this devil fruit specifically, and Luffy specifically, needed to be together.
Look, I'm just saying, we already have
there.
so many characters in One Piece. We don't need to start characterizing devil fruits. There's so many things to remember.
You say that.
I
But
do.
I think more
Charlottes.
than anything, that this devil fruit is more like a Loki the trickster god, not the Marvel character, than anything else in this entire show. This devil fruit specifically has something. It's got a plan. It's got a modus operandi. It's got a personality. It's got something. Because every single time, Luffy needs a magical MacGuffin thing to happen where he's able to take things one step further, and nobody else is able to do this stuff this quick, this fast, this on the fly, and make this much progress like this. There's something with that devil fruit that is basically making things happen the way Luffy wants. Because that's how powerful the devil fruit actually is. Just this one. And there's a reason for it.
The other thing...
It can't be a rubber fruit. It can't be.
I mean,
the other thing... Yeah,
counterpoint, as far as all the Destiny stuff goes, Luffy has been, like, randomly eating shit his entire life.
True.
Like
It knew. If I put myself right here, then this kid's going to eat me. It knew.
Listen, I hear what you're saying, and again, I don't like that. I like the idea that, like, even the best intentioned plans, like, will go astray because, like, it's like, you can't control an idiot, all right? And that kid, it's like, you can't control a kid who's hungry and decides to eat a fruit. Not even just a fruit.
With
he
poor
took a
impulse
bite.
Control.
He literally took a bite and was like, ew, and then ate the whole thing. Okay?
I mean, that's a young boy.
Listen, we've all been there. It's like, this is disgusting. Let me take a second bite just to see if it was actually disgusting.
Actually, here's a test. Who of you have actually tasted a Switch cartridge?
Not me.
Me.
Surprisingly.
Not me.
Not me
I
either.
have.
Absolutely.
I think I've told this story before where I had a friend come over and my roommate, and like they were like, I heard that like they put like like bitter yuck on the cartridges to prevent the kids from eating it. Licks a cartridge and was like, ew, your turn. And I was like, I'm good, actually. I believe you. Like, it was like probably the one moment in my life I had the brain cell. But I was like, I'm good. I believe you. I don't want to try this.
This is gross. Taste it. No. I've had enough information.
Yeah, I was like, no, I think I got it. I understand.
But Luffy sees the thing. Gross.
Gross,
like,
unless...
I do want to say I don't think that's a little kid thing because I know, and I was one of these people, I know so many freaking kids who are picky eaters, okay? They would not be like, they would like look at it and go, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's like, you haven't tried it yet. I try it first. No, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. But like I
if
think
somebody does that as a kid, they will definitely do that again as an adult.
But I think because Luffy is raised by Garp, who yeets him into the woods. Like, we know this because of Amazon Lily. Gets yeeted into the woods by Garp, randomly marine training of like, well, there's no refrigerator, there's no McDonald's. I have to just eat what's around me and just will randomly eat mushrooms. And that, I think, is why he's like, ew, gross, and just keeps eating it because he's like survival.
I probably need the nutrition.
The other thing is that I want to give Shanks credit where I think Shanks deserves credit. I think Shanks we are going to find out, is like a mover and shaker of the world. Like, he has more.
He's got influence.
He's
got the influence of D instead of the will of D.
He's
Influencer.
All right.
I think
Thanks, Molly.
Shanks. I really want to get this out there, and I'll be done with it. But it's just like, I want to give Shanks like Shanks' due. Okay, I want to listen to me, Shanks. I want to give you credit. I think you're going to be a big deal. But the fact that like our first impression of Shanks is him being like, yeah, haha, do it. What's Luffy doing? I don't know, man. He's just up there. I'm egging him on, and then he stabs himself in the face. I'm like, Shanks is such a himbo. We meet him and he's so stupid. And I'm just like, I'm hear what we're saying. It would make sense thematically. I hear it and I believe it. And I'm a little hesitant about it because I don't like that certain types of storyline. And at the same time, I'm like, Shanks is so dumb. I want Shanks to be, I want best intentions don't matter when the, like, crap happens sometimes, okay? Sometimes you're just doing laundry after a really bad day, and it's too late, and you realize you put something in the wash that's going to dye all of your clothes a certain color, much like what happened to me yesterday.
I was going to say, this is way too
That's
specific.
very specific.
Yeah, it happened less than 24 hours ago for me. But it's just like, I hear what you're saying, and I agree, and I think it's likely. But Molly personally doesn't want that because...
Okay.
It's sometimes somebody walks up to you with their kid and say, hey, could you supervise this kid? And then they're sitting there going, supervision? I wonder what supervision would be like. And then the kid stabs themselves.
It's just, I am just so tired. I'm sorry. I'm just so tired of the storylines where it's like, it's all predetermined. I hate that. I absolutely hate that.
So
One Piece
what
is
if
so
Will
unique.
also isn't necessarily Destiny.
I know,
so, like,
but also...
I think the way that the show has been presenting, like, inherited will and the will of D and this sort of stuff doesn't, it could be the will of Destiny. It could be the will of, at the very least, I think whatever we find
Will
out,
of the world.
whatever we find out, D stands for, will help.
Okay, boss.
It will help inform more about devil fruits whenever we learn more about devil fruits. Mm-hmm. I think we've talked a lot about this topic and can talk about it for a lot longer. I was wondering, Kdin, if you have any further thread.
I do have more thread. So we're going to talk about devil fruits for one more second.
All right.
Hold on. You'll understand why in a second. You thought we were getting away from it, but it's important. But I'm going to draw another string. I'm going to move it away. I'm going to circle the Marines and devil fruit. And I still have that thought of them going in and manufacturing devil fruit. And that's been stuck in my head for a little bit. And
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
forgot about that.
So we finally talked a little bit about Vegapunk again. First time in a long time. First time in a long time. First time in a long time. So my thoughts on that is that okay, you get the smartest person doing all this stuff, right? This person's super smart. One of the smartest people in the Marines, right?
Hold up.
Yeah.
Didn't we figure out that the smartest person...
Yeah.
Well,
That we met at the time that we met before
correction.
no, that's what the question said.
That was the question at the time, and we had not met Vegapunk because
you.
we brought
haven't
that
met?
up. That was a whole thing. We have not met Vegapunk.
I don't know. What his deal
So
is.
my thought is that there's one of two things. Either Vegapunk doesn't exist anymore, and that's why people are doing all this stuff, or, however, Vegapunk as Vegapunk doesn't exist anymore. And what Vegapunk is now is separate, but ultimately equal to or greater than the things before. But what's happening is that there's some issue, like I don't know. I didn't get to the finality of that thought, but I don't think Vegapunk is as Vegapunk was, and that's why they're struggling. They're not getting the results that they want. There is a separation of desire and personality and science and not to bring will back into it, but will that is split between what the Marines want to do and what Vegapunk is actively doing at the moment.
Well, can I ask a question then? Because I just can't remember exactly. Was it actually Vegapunk experimenting on making devil fruit, or was that just Caesar being like, I'm better than this guy and I'll get you the result you want?
It was that.
Yeah. So
the
logic
thing
stands. Yeah.
The thing about Vegapunk right now is that he did something for the military or for the Marines that will allow them to dissolve the 7 warlords of the sea. So
Right.
he figured out some sort of replacement for that.
Okay.
Right.
And
then-
that's where we are. But all we know is that Vegapunk did research on devil fruits, but we don't
Right.
know what. And Kdin took that as a nugget of Vegapunk is working to replicate devil fruits
Okay.
for the government,
Gotcha. Now,
Yeah.
now I know the
Or
assignment.
was.
or was.
Yeah. I
Because if there's one thing I've learned about the world government is that they don't keep friends very long. And then if you know something that they don't want you to know, they're going to try and kill you.
Well, they can
And
certainly try.
And that's kind of, I mean, try is definitely a part of it. Which again leads back to perception, which is kind of what this whole theory corner has been about this time around. It's like if they let things be perceived one way, they can control the narrative, which is what the Marines have been doing the entire time.
The
So by
winners
dropping the
control
name
history.
Vegapunk this entire time and being just like, well, Vegapunk did this. Well, Vegapunk. They've been building Vegapunk up like this super evil whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Pup cup.
So what if Vegapunk isn't? What if Vegapunk was but isn't anymore?
So what if they're just using his name as a veil for whatever research they're doing in the shadow of secrecy?
Right.
Somebody's
In
gotta
the
stop
guise
this
of in the
guy.
guise of doing the name drops, like, well, Roger did. Well, Vegapunk did. Well, this big name did. Like it's like just like it's the clout drop. Well, we're gonna drop the big name, and then you'd be like, whoa. So what if that's why they're doing that? Because it's a name that means something, but nobody really understands quite how
I mean, we don't know.
or why.
We don't know.
I have a
that.
real world reference that I want to make, but it'll just make me upset. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know Vegapunk. We don't know who they are. Like it's been bugging me for so long because again, like as
Do we
Kate was
even know
saying-
Vegapunk, what Vegapunk's gender is the thing.
Yeah.
We keep saying he,
It's also-
and I don't know if we know that.
Yeah. No, I don't think we do know that because there have been times where Frankie has met people who know Vegapunk, and I think that they were very like
KG.
their ideals, like they were using they them or was just using like Vegapunk in like third person. You know what I mean? Like they were like instead of being like putting a pronoun to it,
Using it like a title.
Cool,
Yeah, like a
right?
concept
That's
or
exactly
Oh.
where I needed my thought to go to. Thank you, Molly. So what if
Vegapunk is a
Vegapunk
title
isn't
now.
a person? What if it's a title? What if it's multiple people? What if Vegapunk is multiple people? What if Vegapunk is going around and doing all this stuff as this kind of like amalgamation of knowledge? Like here's
it's
all
like
of this
a-
thought.
like
Go
an
ahead.
admiral, like a title,
Or like a CP9, but it's the science brigade of the Marines
it's a
is called
bunch of
Vegapunk after this
Yes,
guy.
but
Yeah,
what
yeah,
if the nerds were working for the Marines, and then the nerds were just like, maybe this is bad, and then they like were just like, I'm not comfortable with this, and they're just like, we're gonna take your stuff, we're gonna take your name, we're gonna use your name, and we're gonna kill you, and then just
I did this.
I did this, and then we're gonna use this because it makes people afraid, or it makes people like, oh wow, that's the person that did blah 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 blah. And we don't even
Reverent, at
know.
least.
We don't even know.
I like
Formerly
that.
known as.
What was Walpole's army of surgeons called? The like
I mean-
49 doctors or something.
It's that, but nerds.
It's that, but nerds,
Just
like people
reskin.
who really like fruit.
It's the,
It's
it's
like,
the
what if-
room
what if-
full of
what if they were
typewriters
just
and
like-
chimpanzees.
What if they were just a bunch of farmers? It's like, we just really like farming these devil fruit, and we just know about them. And we know the science of the devil fruit. What's a plant
like-
scientist called?
Botanist?
Herbologist?
Botanist. Thank you.
Botanist.
Botanist.
Herbologist? No.
Or
That's
botanist.
the one. Her, yeah, uh-huh.
So that's where my brain has been going for I've been thinking about Vegapunk for such a long time, and I needed
dude.
something. I needed something. I needed something to go on, and
Dude,
this
the
little
closer-
bit of information was enough to like kickstart my brain. And thanks, Molly, for the assist on that. You got me to get to the finish line there.
The
with my
closer
thought,
you
but I
get
didn't
to
Man, I
caught
wanna know
up,
too.
the more we can actually take part in your theorizing.
Yeah, it's also.
I mean,
a
you
lot
guys
of,
are
like,
you guys are pretty participating this time around. The first one, I was just like,
Yeah.
I was trying to pull something out of you, and
because
you're
we
just like,
don't know.
I don't
Kate,
know.
We don't know.
don't
We're getting
know.
to the
We're-
part where we're all screaming in the void together.
Yeah, like before we were at the point where we would like be quiet rather than disagree.
The loud
Because-
keyboarding, because you were right, and we knew that for a fact. We don't know anymore. We don't.
That's the
Like,
fun.
this
That's why I'm
this is
having
our
fun
theories
now.
coming in to
I get
combat
to
your
exist.
theories.
Right. That's why I like that we get to do this now. That's why this was a great, like a
We
fun
all-
little thing that we get to do now. And I
We're
feel
all-
like we're gonna get to do this a lot more as time goes on. But I feel like unless there's something that you guys want to drop,
Unless?
I feel
I do.
like
Oh,
that
Molly,
might
what was
be
your
the-
theory that you brought up that you had
Yeah.
from last
Oh.
episode?
Get ready, because these are hot takes, dude. These are hot takes. I'll start with the one that Mark and hat.
Nice hat.
Thanks. I'll start with the one that I know I've talked to Mark and Al about before. And again, we don't know. This is me throwing it out there of being like, I've connected them. You didn't connect S word. I know I connected them. Meme where we talked about or emu or whatever you want to call it. The cloak person with the blanket and the good AC last episode. There's somebody lurking around Pangea Castle. We don't know who they are. We don't even have their pronouns. They will not text me back. What we do know, we have seen a silhouette of this person, and we have seen their eyes. And those eyes, to me, are incredibly reminiscent of two characters, just naming off the top of my head, Robin and Hawkeyes. Mihawk.
And Sasuke.
I don't know Sasuke. Oh, Sasuke, yeah. Wait, no, I'm kidding. No, and it bugs me
Believe
because
it.
it's not a new concept, okay? It's not those shock eyes are not a concept. Those are not a new. Oda's not just suddenly changing his art style now. Like he's now drawing. Oh, they are red. I see. But the also thing
Yeah,
is that that's
Sharingan.
just the anime doing whatever until we
It's
see
Sasuke.
Oda color them in copics, okay?
They're just high on the weekend with their house shoes on.
Molly. I hate to break it to you, but it's pronounced Copic.
Who?
The marker.
Oh, the markers? Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah.
No,
probably.
I was told by the booth at Anime Expo one year. I was calling them Copic markers, and they're just like, it's Copic. And I'm like, well, thanks. This is as devastating as it was when I found out that Asus was pronounced Asus. I have to leave
No, it's
now.
not.
I mean, it's not for me because you know me. I'm just gonna call it what I call it. So
That's true. I love that energy, Molly.
yeah, they could tell me all dang day, man. But I'm gonna do whether they like it or not. I'm gonna get it wrong. But that pretty messed up. I don't know. Like there's
Yeah.
a thought trail there that I'm like, what does it mean kind of thing, because there may be like another character or two that we've seen. Oh, I remember the other thing. So it kind of leads into the next theory that I want to talk about. But I mean, notoriously, there is a character whose eyes we have not seen that we know for sure is part or was part of the Celestial Dragons, aka Bad Vibes guy, aka Doflamingo, to a point where Oda has made a bit about not seeing his eyes, and that feels like a huge, like, red herring to me. I feel like he's making it a bit so that we stop questioning it. But there was an SBS where somebody asked Oda, like, what's underneath Doflamingo's sunglasses? And he drew a little cheeky little drawing of Doflamingo taking off his sunglasses to reveal another pair of the same sunglasses. And I feel like for the amount of times that they keep showing Doflamingo being like, haha, you put me in singles only jail because I know the truth. I'm a truther. I'm a truther and I know the thing, and you're gonna kill me and send me an assassin because I'm so important about this thing. I feel like there's a connection there where it's like, what up with those shark guys, baby? And like, pretty crazy. And then, unless anybody wants to jump in on that one.
No, I'm good.
Okay, great. And then the next theory that I was thinking about today, as again with Doflamingo being like, haha, don't you want to shut me up right now because I have all these secrets? It'd be a shame if somebody overheard me telling the secrets and get assassinated. It's a good job that you guys put me in, fucking
in prison.
Sorry. Put me in, no, not even just prison, like solitude. They put him alone, like to be
Solitary
alone.
confinement, baby. It sucks.
So I had a thought while I was looking at these chapters again that specifically, it's funny because it's like, if you're reading this chapter and you don't know who these people are, like, come on, you should not be here. You know what I mean? But Oda still gives us a little, like, as previously seen in the Alabasta arc, we know Vivi was once, a princess out
There once
and
was
about.
a man named Gold Roger.
Yeah. It's like
Back to one, everybody.
the thing I noticed that I thought was very interesting, and again, Kdin, we don't know, so it's not me being like, eh. It's like,
No, I believe
don't
you.
know.
I believe you.
So the recaps that Oda gave us at these very pinnacle chapters of like who these people are, like a reminder for these things. He didn't draw every single person in Baroque works, okay? He drew Crocodile, Robin, he drew number 1, he drew number 3, and he drew Bon-chan, and that reminded me that Bon-chan, as we know it, is still an EBDB. Not only just EBDB, Bon-chan has taken over the like facility that Ivankov was running.
yeah,
So,
that's right.
potentially here, because we don't know, somebody who's literally going like, man, I have all these juicy secrets. It'd be so bad if somebody overheard me with my juicy secrets. Not thinking anybody is listening to this guy, or if anyone's listening to him, it's like the guards being like, God, I want this guy to, it's the FBI agents listening in, you know what I mean? Being like, shut up. But what if Bon-chan overhears this stuff, whatever juicy secrets Doflamingo allegedly has? What if Bon-chan hears it and by association either tells Luffy or tells the Revolutionary Army? Because, like, as far as we know, like, Bon-chan is still from like a chapter cover of like, like around the worlds of like, I wonder what these people are up to kind of thing that Oda did. We see that Bon-chan is in I forget what they call it, but like their like little secret EBDB area, the club, the bar.
Isn't she the Bon-chan is the new queen of level 5.5?
Yeah.
4.5?
Yeah. It's a halfway number because it's dug between 2 levels, I think.
And we know from Marineford and the EBDB, that arc, that specifically Ivankov was like, yeah, whatever, we're in jail because we want to be in jail because we are collecting information to give back to the Revolutionary Army, and we will move when the leader tells us to move, and that's only then will we leave. And then was like, oh, you're my leader's kid? We got his other kids like about to die? We got to get out of here. Like, so I feel like and the other implication is that they have the ability to move around unseen in the jail. So I feel like it's not that far off to say.
Also, Bonchan can disguise themselves.
Yes.
As anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And
Since he's fought Magellan, he can be Magellan.
Yes. Okay.
Oh,
yes.
God.
This is what I was thinking about, and I hadn't thought about it before, and I'm thinking about it now, and I'm like, go off, like Bonchan, go off, like stir the pot, Bonchan. And
hey, I want it.
yeah, and I think we're about to see a lot of like the Marines fighting back. Like it's a very bold statement to say we don't need you anymore. We're replacing this entire thing, like because we have the. We're developing AI technology, so we don't need you guys anymore.
Too real. It's too real.
It's too real. Too much.
Oda's ahead of his time, dude. And I think, I don't know. I like the implications of that I hadn't considered until like I just thought about it like an hour ago, and I don't know how I feel about that.
What's gonna happen to Buggy?
I don't know. Do we need another bag? We don't
Yeah,
need
to keep theories in.
Double baggy.
Yeah. We don't. No. We don't. I'm sorry. We don't. I don't need a bag. I brought my reusable bag. My reusable giant IKEA bag. I'll never need another bag ever.
My reusable baggie.
I don't like that.
Yeah. When it came out of my mouth, I decided I didn't like it.
You ever just say something and you regret it?
Yeah.
Anyway,
there's
yell me all the time.
There's a Molly's been sending me theories for like current-ish day stuff that I'm excited to get to whenever we do another port predictions. But I haven't brain-oned as much as I have just now.
Yeah.
In terms of like thinking of other theories that I would have for going forward. I find it interesting that it seems like the Marines are like, oh, Wano, we can't go there. And I just wonder what if they would be there at all.
Yeah.
Like, what are we, like, we're going to have an arc with no Marine interference. That's great.
Gosh, that's good. That's, wow. An island with no cops. That'd be amazing.
As much as they are like so desperate to control every situation, it's like there's no downfall for them to stay out of it because it's pirates versus pirates in a nation that specifically does not include itself with the world government. So there's there's certainly things to worry about. Like the worst case scenario, Luffy decides to team up with Big Mom and Kaido. That would be a worst case scenario.
Nah.
But it's like in their heads, right? It's like it's all infighting. They're just gonna fight themselves, and it's going to be in a land that's not controlled by them. So it's like, who cares? Like, we don't need to be involved in whatever the outcome's going to be because it doesn't affect us.
So I want to take that real quick, okay. and then if there's anything else, I can pass it away to anybody else. But
you're gonna pass away?
I'm gonna pass it away to somebody else. Molly, ears.
No.
Put your big ears on, Molly.
No.
Molly, you brought up something really interesting.
I knew that.
How long have they had the four emperors be a thing? How long has that just been a thing?
I don't know if they ever put like a
history of the world. We don't know.
But there is like a whole understanding that's like it's four emperors. It's four emperors. Even the world government says it. The pirates say it. The world says it. There's four. By introducing a fifth emperor, they've thrown everything off balance. I have a feeling they're going to rebalance things. I think they're going to be rebalance things. And this is where we go back to everybody hating Roger and having like a reason to not like Roger, even though it's not technically Roger's fault. What if Morgans goes back on the fifth emperor thing? What if with the fact that technically Luffy got away from Big Mom and will probably end up beating Kaido, makes it so that Luffy just wipes them off the board. It's like, well, this happened, so like let's just bump up the ones below that. So no more five emperors. Slap in. Oh, I don't know. Rubber Boy and the Clown. And we'll just throw those up there. Those are your four emperors.
Let's go.
Shanks, Rubber Boy, the Clown.
Okay, so here's my thought. 'Cause I don't know if they've actually ever said exactly when that started. I genuinely do feel like the Emperor's system started in Roger's era. Like, it's like the Pirate King, and then...
It has to be after Roger. Like for him to have a title like that, like, you'd think they're... Because in my mind, if you're, like, ranking the names of royalty, Emperor is, like, above a normal king in terms of, like, territory controlled.
Well,
If that
that's
makes
the,
sense.
that's the other thing, though, that I, like... I'm just sorry, just real quick. The thing about that is that, like, do we even know if Roger had territory? He's the Pirate King because he got to the last island. Like, whatever the One Piece is. Like, this guy, he's the ultimate pirate, whatever. That does not imply that he had a corner to himself. Like,
No,
the
he has the
Emperor
ocean.
system... Yeah, the Emperor... Technically, the four emperors all have land in the New World. But, like... I don't know if that implies...
I guess this goes back to the whole idea that we've talked about this before of, like, freedom. It's like he has the freedom to sail all of the ocean.
But that's, like, I think Luffy's construct, right? Of, like, what does it mean to be the freest man in the world? And to him, that is the Pirate King. But I don't know if anyone's quantified that before.
Well, I mean, just the reverse of that is when Luffy calls it being free, other people see that as power.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like the Marines, when they see someone who is free to do that, it's like we will name them something imposing so that they are seen as very dangerous because they are dangerous to us.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Emperor system, as you're saying, Al, did come after, like, as you're saying, it's like Emperor is above a king, probably. And I do think that that's, like if the top guy is gone and we're divvying up whatever in the new world, then that would make more sense.
And this goes back to Mark's point before of, like, Big News Morgan's, like, branding thing.
Well, especially the thing that we learned is, in terms of the balance of power, is that the four emperors versus the Marines is enough to balance the pirate and criminal worlds versus the quote order and marine stuff. And so when you add another number to that, that starts to in the public perception overpower the military. And then with the possibility of Kaido and Big Mom teaming up, that is two simultaneous things in the news that should terrify the world, no matter what side of the coin you're on.
We need to balance things. And also thematically, it makes more sense to yeet the old stuff out, and then we'd have literally I'm literally taking out my pen for this. We'd have two from the generation just before that learned from the generation just before, from the Roger generation, and then two from something a little bit more recent from the worst generation, which means that we would have Buggy and Shanks and Blackbeard and Luffy. Those would be the four emperors, and it would be just hilarious, and it works thematically because it's just hilarious to have literally, I'll be honest, literally having Shanks and Blackbeard up there is like, that's terrifying. And then Luffy and Buggy, I'm just like, what's with the nerds? Why are the nerds there?
There's
it would be so confusing and also ultimately insulting. And that would mean that if the government would acknowledge those two over Big Mom and Kaido, then they're just like, cool, great. They're going to go after those jerks and not us. So we can just misdirect them that way. And inevitably, it would be a cause to get everybody at one place.
I just think that Buggy has... Okay, I was about to say Buggy has to do something, but let me rephrase that. Something has to happen to Buggy in order to get back on... to get on the thing of... Oh, that's interesting, because the world knows
I don't think so. I think Oda can just do whatever he wants.
Once the world found out that he was a member of Gold Roger's crew, that's when he showed up at Marineford.
Yeah.
He literally, that's when he allowed me to be like, no, I want to be one of the 7 warlords. I'll work for you. Please, God, let me work for you. And so if that system goes away, something else needs to happen to him to have him fail further upwards. That's the only thing that I'm saying. It's not that it's not possible.
I just think, well, the thing is, does anything necessarily need to happen, or does the government just need to, push their way in and be like, okay, Kaido and Big Mom are teaming up. We need to do something about that. We can't have them be a part of these emperors and be working together. That completely goes against the fact that these emperors don't work with each other, don't like each other, and don't cross over. That's kind of how the whole thing has worked up to this point. But by having them work together, the government's just like, that's too big of a threat. We need to make them feel insecure. So we're going to call them Cockapoo Stinky and then make them feel worse about themselves. So they'll go after their old titles.
They are too powerful for a newspaper to be like,
I don't know about that. I feel like the world is stupid enough that they'll believe it.
But Big Mom,
because we're not trying to put in a place where, oh, we're going to do this. We're messing with public perception, which is exactly what Morgans does all the time.
Big
that's
Mom
more
is
important.
A woman who doesn't eat cake and goes into a furious rage. I don't think a bad newspaper is going to get on her bad side.
I think it's going to make her mad.
And then she'll go on a rampage and kill people? I don't think the government wants that.
Right, but that means they hate pirates more, which means they'll align with the government more.
At the cost of innocent lives.
They don't care. They're the government.
I think.
When has name a single Marine besides Garp and Sengoku who's given and Aokiji, but he got ousted, who's given a crap about human life and Smoker?
Nina.
And except for the ones that are obviously good. Slightly. We're talking about the important ones.
Except for the good ones. Name some good ones.
Except for like the 5 good ones who have been good the entire time.
Kdin,
name a single Marine who's in the power.
I like your theory. My only thing is,
I said Sengoku, Molly. I said Sengoku. He's not part of that anymore. He's retired.
I just think that similarly to your previous theories where you're like, I was just waiting for something to happen, there's just one thing that needs to happen. I don't think it just happens because we need, like, me personally, as a Buggy fan, I want to see some bad things happen to Buggy because it's funny. To just have him it would be one thing for him being handed the thing that the warlords are no more will be funny. That will be funny. But something needs to further elevate him. Something needs to hang him from a pike and be like, look at this clown. And then people will be like, I am looking at that clown. He's literally my god. And that's the other thing, is he has this legion of followers that are so devout to him that something has to happen to him because the world won't, because of him being him and his inner circle being the most rational people around him won't let anything happen to him unless it's on a macro level.
And I think the thought I had 30 minutes ago about the number Kdin was asking about in terms
69.
of 69 emperors originally, and then the Fire Nation attacked, and there's only 4 now. No, I think what I was trying to say was that I think the number is not important. I don't think it's there's always been 4. I think it's still a relatively new concept since after Roger. I don't think that's always been a thing of I think genuinely, and we don't know this, so I'm just going to throw it out there. I think that after Roger, it was Big Mom, Kaido, and Whitebeard who stood uncontested after Rogers died. And then the Marines' response to the 3 emperors was the warlord system. And I don't think 7 and 3 and 4 and and then and then Shanks was like, all right, see ya, I'm gonna go do this thing. And then in the years since Luffy was growing up, then became the 4th emperor. I don't think that there has always been 4.
Man, I would love that
be a
though.
certain number.
I would love it to be that simple. Just for the sake of things, just for the sake of it being funny, for Shanks to just be like, yeah, I'm gonna go do this. This is really funny to me.
Literally in my head is that the thought process, right, is that there were 3 emperors, the 3 uncontested people, now that Roger's gone, the 3 baddest bees out there, and literally to compensate for that, the government was like, yeah, well, we have 7 other baddies, so whatever. And I genuinely feel like they overcompensated the number 7 to then it's like, well, we have double and more of 3 of you guys, and then Shanks rolled in and made it 4, and they were like, well, I mean, it's still fine, we're not gonna get an 8th guy, we have a 7th thing going on here. But in my head, that makes sense. It's the Marines' response to 3 bad bees and them overcompensating of needing a shield against that.
For sure. And that goes back into my thing of it being about how powerful those specific pirates are. Just because it's the only way to... it's not like there's a set number of them. It's just that's the number of people who are that specific level of power.
We have not, I'm trying to think of it. We have not seen whoever the generation was before. We don't know who raised Garp. We don't know, it's the generation before the Great Age of Piracy.
What if there was a hotter grandpa that raised Garp?
Probably there could have been, and that guy could have been that guy could have been the strongest guy out there, right?
Great Garpa.
We don't know. That's the thing. It's it almost feels like the entirety of this universe starts at the greatest age of piracy, because at the same time of these incredible pirates, the firepower is matched by the Marines. It just happens to be that Garp chose to be a Marine, Roger chose to be a pirate, but it's there's always a balance in check, I guess. But we have no idea if that has always been the structure, because also I'm sure obviously pirates were around, Roger and Whitebeard and all them were around, but it's what we know as the story is in the opening in the first episode. There once was a great man, fame, wealth, power. Roger started. Roger was an influencer and started the trend of being a pirate. Well, I know.
Whenever we find out
about the golden age of piracy,
what happened? Sorry, jeez. It's his brand. Whenever we find out what happened in the Void Century, that I think that's the point. But that will also clear up so much stuff in terms of world history.
Also, there have been 800 years since then, and we don't even know. We only know 3 generations so far in terms of history. We know. And we have an idea of what happened way the heck back when, but there is all the way back when to the Void Century, and then within the last 100 years, we only have info on. We have no idea, was it a faux pas to be a pirate in Roger's day? I don't know. How long has the influence of the world government, where everyone's do, everything's fine. These scoundrels are here. It's truly, I'm very interested to hear, Roger becoming a pirate when he was whenever he set out, was that an insane notion? Was that not popularized at the time? And since then we've seen 2 waves of pirate mania, influence of Roger sending people out and then Whitebeard sending people out, and those are 2 modern day generations. But I don't know. It's interesting. I will continue to dig this hole to talk about the implications of has the Emperor system always been around? Because everybody seems to know it but Luffy when they explain it, but that doesn't imply that it's an old concept.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I also have never thought about that before, and now I'm wait a minute.
4 emperors, 4 corners of the world.
Or are you talking about the Garpa, the great Garpa?
Garpa and Garpa. Great Garpa.
The thing with that is that it seems I would love for there to be a grandpa, Garp. I would love that. I would love nothing more than a hotter guy raising Garp to be his hottest possible self. And at the same time, it's like, I feel like so many of Garp's generation being Marines is because they grew up in such a crappy situation that they actually genuinely wanted to do better. Like, they're from like a lot of war-torn situations. And I only say that because Oda has drawn them all as kids, and I think the majority of them are like in ratty shorts and like beating the crap up and like are holding lead pipes, and like Garp is like holding a lead pipe and riding a tiger that he's beaten up. Like,
That's awesome. That's cool. I love that.
What I'm picking up what Oda put down with no context is that it seems like a lot of the people who originally got into being the Marines did it because them saying straight out, like, there is a greater evil, and they may have run into those crappy pirates, the ones who are like, yar, pillage, and I'm gonna be bad. I'm gonna be bad and not in like a cool way, in like a really not cool way.
I'm gonna be bad.
No, that's a cool way. Being bad is being a cool bad. But being like nasty, like pillaging and stealing, that's not cool. Don't do that. Like, that's not cool. And I feel like a lot of those guys come from like war-torn countries that like saw a broken system and wanted to be part of helping the system, but not knowing that you can just help the system and not be part of the Marines. And I'm curious to know if we ever get to know about that, if that was the state of the world that all of these third generation influencers are coming from, of like maybe on Roger's side, it's everything's crap, so just like make your own, like be your own man, like make your you're not going to get fortune. Yeah, make your own luck. And then a similar thought with Garp and friends of like, everything's crap, so like why don't you join the Marines and you'll at least be fed, like you'll have a bed, like they're hard on you and you'll do good, but it's like, you know, home is home or whatever. It's better than where I came from.
I like that.
We talked about a lot of stuff I didn't ever think about before.
Yeah,
welcome to Poor Predictions. That's what happens. Your brain starts spiraling and they're just like, wait, and now we're here.
It's not even that. It's that we're at a safe place where I can just talk about this stuff with Kdin. Like, the 3 a.m. thoughts.
I hope this place is always safe for you. Come on.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's the 3 a.m. spoiler chat of like, man, I can't fall asleep right now because what if there's a hotter guy who raised Garp? Who taught Sengoku and Tsuru and Garp to be Marines? Because like,
wasn't that Zed? Wasn't that the point of that movie?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
That's not canon. That doesn't count.
Yeah, but they kind of implied that he was a part of that generation. But
I think but that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't think he taught them. I think he was the same age as them, and then ended up teaching the younger, like the generation down from them. So it's like who taught Garp to be like the, you know what I mean? It's like, and like to a point where like his entire personality is, you're going to be a Marine. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. I don't care what gender you are. You're going to be a Marine. You're going to be tough, and you're going to be a Marine. And it's like, who taught him that? Who is the Garp Pa?
Garp Pa?
Yeah, who is
the
he?
Great Garp Pa?
I want to know. It's probably not relevant in any way to the story, but I gotta know. Any other theories?
No, that's it for me. So now I'm going to throw everything to the audience. What do you think that the Great Garp Pa looks like? If you want to send us art of your own theory on what Great Garp Pa looks like, that'd be great. Where can they find us to send us that art? Let's start with Mark.
You can find us generally at Yayo Talk Show across all of the social medias, but you can follow me specifically at Mark B. Donica, wherever Mark B. Donicas are sold.
Molly.
Oh, me? You can find me
Didn't
on...
see you there.
Well, see, I'm usually last. You can find me on Twitter at TEHFLOD. You can actually find me on Tumblr at MollyFlood, Molly K. Flood, depending on what you're looking for. And we have a Yayo Talk Show Tumblr, so come hang out with us.
Al.
You can find me basically everywhere at Al McClellan Jr. That's ALMCCLELAND JR. Good luck.
And you can find me at Kdin Jensen, pretty much everywhere. KDINJENZEN. I'm mostly on Twitch and Tumblr. And that was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. But much how like most of these theories go, don't tell me if I'm right just yet. Let me figure it out for myself. And let us just kind of sit around and theorize. And join us in the comment section of wherever this is posted. Or leave us a review. Or interact with us. We're on Twitch. We like you. So please come hang out with us. Yeah, I think that's it for this. So let's set sail for another episode of the main show. And we'll see you back here when we have more stuff to theorize about.